Hello and welcome to the first episode of the occasional and sporadic Atheist Bible Minute. Yes, it'll probably be longer than a minute, but Atheist Bible couple of minutes or so doesn't have that same ring to it. In this series, I, a lifelong atheist, plan to give my opinions on various Bible-related topics. I may or may not do more of these in the future, so sporadic might turn into only. This all depends on whether or not I feel the urge to do more. Today, just for shits and giggles, I plan to fill in a Bible plot hole in a way that apologists won't like because it pukes all over their ideas about Adam and Eve. Better than that, I plan to do it using the Bible. The specific plot hole that I plan to fill in is the idea that if Adam and Eve were the first people in the world, they would need to use incest to populate the planet. Apologists will usually come up with some claptrap about incest not being wrong back then. My claim, put simply, is that they wouldn't need to because they weren't the first people on Earth. I told you this pukes on the apologists' ideas about Adam and Eve. I know what you're saying. I've been taught all my life the Bible says Adam and Eve were the first people. How can you, an atheist, say they weren't? The answer to this is simple. Read the Bible. In particular, read Genesis 1, verse 26. And God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, the fowl of the air," yada yada yada. Note in particular the use of the plural them instead of the singular him. This suggests that God created mankind, not a man. Then in chapter 2, God does a custom build of Adam and Eve out of dirt and a rib respectively. Since they were built special, they and their descendants become, as the Jewish community puts it, God's chosen people. This comes in handy for later chapters. For example, chapter 4, verse 14 starts to make a little more sense when Cain says, "Everyone that findeth me shall slay me," because there would actually be people to findeth him. More importantly for Cain is when we skip ahead to verse 17, where Cain knew his wife. That wife doesn't need to be his sister. His wife can be one of the people that God created way back in chapter 1. Ta-da! Incest eliminated, plot hole filled. You're welcome, Christians. If you like this, click like. If you did, don't. Until next time.
When I was a kid, I had an imaginary friend, and I used to think that he went everywhere with me, and that I could talk to him, and he could hear me, and that he could grant me wishes and stuff. And then I grew up, and I stopped going to church.